What's up, guys? It's Sam and Taylor.
And we want you to put your shoes on,
Pop open that energy drink,
and go.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode. I'm Taylor.
and I'm Sam.
Today we have a guest. We have Adam Wright. We love Adam Wright.
We love Adam Wright stands. Oh, yes.
He never misses. I don't think he knows that we really like his content.
Yeah.
Like, we, actually adore his content. He's such just, a kind, sweet person, but, never misses. Has all the right opinions. Doesn't miss. So stay tuned for that, because I'm sure we're just going to rant and get into it about just, nonsense in the industry. But before that, we're just going to catch up. So,
Yeah.
take it away.
Weekly recap. This past week was a lot of fun, and I honestly took a step back from social media. As you guys know, last episode, I didn't have a laptop, but then going into this next week, I had my laptop, but then my family was in town, and I was like, you know what? I just want to enjoy quality time with my family and not, worry about vlogging and then worrying about editing it when I'm not with them for the few hours I'm not with them. So I just kind of took a step back from that and just enjoyed time with them. It was a lot of fun, but I'm tired. Hosting people is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It was a lot for me to, coming back from my, time off home, and then David came here, and then your family was here, so it's just, a lot of, off time, over 2 weeks, but I feel so, in my grind right now, which is good. It almost, I love time off, because then getting back on feels, really, really good. Today is, a work all day type of day, and I'm, I, need that, because as much as I love, sleeping in, going to the beach, grabbing this, going to the pool, I'm it actually is gonna feel nice to get shit done the whole entire day.
Yeah, for sure. I feel too, it kind of makes me, not in terms of work, but be very appreciative / thankful for a home cooked meal too. Eating out every single day, I was just oh my god, I can't wait to make my own dinner. So when I finally made my own dinner last night, I was oh, this is amazing. I love it. So felt good.
Yeah, I totally agree. Making all food at home just feels really good. You know it's gonna fill you. You know it's not gonna make you feel bad.
Yeah.
And it's cheaper.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you though, I did eat good this past week. I ate so good. I brought my parents or I guess my whole family. I always say my parents, but my brothers were here too. And I brought them to our favorite restaurant, Bar Peach, which is downtown. So damn good. I'm not even kidding. I'm not usually one to get Korean barbecue or that type of food, but because my brothers were there, I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone, got these wings and a few other things. I'm this is so good. But where else did I go? Blue Sake Sushi. You guys know the hype with that. I had one of you guys DM me on Snapchat yesterday, swiped up and was girl, I listened to your rec and I went there and it wasn't that good. I was I was so mad. I was no, I swear it's good. And she goes, I only got one. She said she only got one roll, so hopefully that one roll was just not the best, but I'm not even kidding. It's the best sushi place in Austin. But
I'd have to agree. Other than that, it was a lot of just hanging out, having fun, doing Austin things. We went wakeboarding, which was super fun. And
we're gonna become pros.
Oh yeah, no. One of my life goals is to be good at wakeboarding. Even though I'm the kind of person that I don't really fuck with the falling over and the getting water in your nose and the whatever. But something about being good at something like that is kind of fun. So
yeah, but think about it this way: the better we get, the less of that is going to happen. But that was our first time going. I hadn't gone in, I want to say 4 or 5 years, with my ex-boyfriend up at his lake house. That was the last time I've done it. So doing it this time around, I was sober, which was great because last time I did it, I was not sober and I couldn't get up. But then our boat guy gave us these pointers that I never thought were gonna help, but instantly that one little change I made the second time I went, I was able to get up, and I was hell yeah. But we just gotta get good at getting outside the wake.
Yeah, it's hard, though, when people are giving you pointers on something, when you know you're supposed to be, you're trying to. He kept being push your feet hard, into the board, and I was I am, I'm trying.
Yeah.
And he kept being you gotta push harder, and I was I don't know how else to tell you that I felt I was using my whole body's force to push on that board. You can keep telling me over and over again to push my feet harder, but I'm giving it my maximum effort. I was this is my max, I'm trying. Trust me, we're in this, I'm trying. And then he swapped my board out because he was like, a lot of girls find this board easier. He was like, I don't like it and I think it's hard, but a lot of girls like can get up on this one. And I was like, okay. So I tried it out and it was like way easier, way better. It was like thinner and smaller.
It was like a piece of paper.
It was so thin, but it was really easy. Like, yeah, I liked it way better. So I like that one. But then Sam's dad.
Oh my god, guys. My dad's like a whopping, like, sorry, Dad, but like, he's a big guy. So we were not thinking he was going to get up by any means. And like, he has a bad back. He has like, he can barely feel the bottoms of his feet from chemotherapy. Like all this like mess up shit like with his body. So I was like, there's no way he's getting up. Like there's no way. Me and my two brothers.
So I was gonna say, mind you, your brother's like a college athlete. Like you played sports. Like we worked out. Like blah, blah, and it was like we all went and we all couldn't do it. The first time we all went, none of us got it.
None of us could get it. And he just hops in the water and the first time he goes, he gets up right away, and he is zooming on that thing for like, he could have stayed on that for like 20 minutes, but he ended up just getting off because it was like hurting his hands or something, and he just wanted to let go of the rope. But I was like, damn, like this was impressive, and I knew I was not going to hear the end of it for the rest of the time being here. So the next morning he texted us and he was like, just so you guys all know, I'm like master wakeboard now. That's all you can call me by. I was like, great. I'm about to go to the pool right now with him. He's not going to stop talking about it.
Like, it was wild to see like all of us like in shape, like in our 20s, like ready to go, like failed miserably. Couldn't freaking do it. And he literally was flying, like he gracefully got off too. He didn't fall.
Oh, and it's not
he
like
let go and was like, I'm done with this now, and let go, and just like kind of sat in the water. And I'm like, what? Like we were all like, what the hell? And the driver was like, he's gonna get it. Like I can tell the way his feet are on the thing, like he's gonna get up. And they were right. And then when I went, like after, like your dad had done it, I was like, okay, you said you could tell by his feet he was gonna get it. So what do I do with my feet? Yeah, I was like, how do I fix my feet? Because you knew just from his feet, so correct mine. And then he told me like how to do it. But yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, let's also keep in mind too, this was on a Sunday, so we had already been on like a 3-night bender. Mm-hmm. And that whole entire day, the boat wasn't even till 3. I was so hungover all day, and somehow just being like 7 foot on the boat, the hangover went away. I was like ready to go. I was like, this is so much fun. But yeah, it was a long weekend. We did First Thursdays, which if you're from Austin, Texas, you probably know what that is. But if you don't know what that is, basically the South Congress Hotel like shuts down the bottom floor of the hotel, like the lobby, the back, everything, and it just turns into a massive bar, and just people our ages from like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. just like post-work, drinks, social hour, but the music is so loud to the point where you can't even hear a single word anyone is saying, and there's nowhere to sit. So it's like, it's a Thursday. I want to be here to like socialize and enjoy it, not get hammered, listen to loud music, and not be able to sit down.
It's the worst event I've ever been to. And I'm not I literally just don't get it. To get a drink, insanity to get a drink.
A 6-ounce drink is like $15.
Expensive. You have to like push and shove. We were standing there like, cause it's like it's giving like college bar. Like it's just a swarm.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, what do I do? Are you in line? I was like, oh no, we're not in line, but you gotta push.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm like, I don't want to. I was like, you need to go.
Yeah,
I was like,
if
you stand here and like you're not gonna get. I was like, you need to assert yourself.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh my god, like really? Like I was like, homeboy, you gotta. Yes. I was like, if you stand back here, you're gonna be here for 5 hours. Like, if, they'll excuse me, you gotta get up there. And they're expensive. And then it was so annoying. They have a drink menu, and we ordered. They're like, we don't have that here. Go to the person next door. So we're like, okay, we'll go to the bar, even though we just waited.
I was gonna say we waited for so long.
Then so we have to go to another place. They're like, oh no, we don't have it. This bar all the way outside. So you have to walk like all the way outside to get another drink. It's hot as hell. I mean, mind you, I guess First Thursday is not in the summer. Wouldn't be hot.
But it's the music though.
The music is so freaking loud, but it's not like you're gonna be dancing.
Yeah, no one dances. Everyone's standing in like empty rooms trying to have conversations.
Basically what you're doing is grabbing a drink, walking around for 2 minutes, you finish the drink, and then you talk with a group of people in line to get another drink. Yeah, and that's all you do.
I only got 2 drinks that whole time we were there. We were from 6 to 8, I think. 8:30, I don't even know. We got back. No, you went to the grocery store at like 9:30, so like we got back around 9, and I had 2 drinks that entire time. I could have had more, but I knew I was like, this is not the vibe. I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, and they're expensive.
Yeah.
Like, they're not cheap at all. And we got, like, these canned drinks that were, like, cheaper, and we're like, oh, we'll try them. They're, like, canned, like, cocktails, and they were the most disgusting things I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, they were really bad.
So gross.
I got, like, the Tequila Paloma one, and I thought it was gonna taste like a Tequila Paloma, but it literally just tasted like a seltzer water with, like, minimal tequila with a weird aftertaste. I don't know.
The margarita kind of tasted like the ocean.
No shit. But that I would even consider going out having 2 drinks or not even drinking and just like going out dressing up and being in that environment. It's so draining. Even if you don't like, I wake up the next morning like hungover, and I'm not hungover.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of like hate every second of it. I don't like it. Like, and last time we went, there was this huge mishap. So we got there earlier than our friends, and they got there late, and we were alone the whole time, so we hated it. And I was like, okay, this time we're going with like 15 friends. We knew a lot of people there. David was here. We were sure. So I was like, okay, I think this is a more fair of a shot because we're not like alone. Like, I have all my friends here. I got my boyfriend here. Like, if it sucks this time, then it sucks. And it did suck.
Yeah. I really want anyone from Austin, Texas listening to this right now to please DM me and let me know your thoughts on First Thursdays, because we can't be the only ones going crazy. Because I feel like our friends, that was also a good amount of our friends' first time going, and they all woke up the next morning saying, wow, that really sucked. But like our other group of friends was like hyping it up so much. I'm like, what? I don't get it. So let us know if you live in Austin, Texas. But then Friday night, that was the night my brothers were in town. They were so tired. They woke up at 3 in the morning for their flight and had, 4 in the morning their time, 3 a.m. our time. So they had been up forever and traveled. So they were so tired. We only lasted until like midnight and came home. We had a pregame at our place, which was nice. My parents got to meet all my friends. But yeah, that was that the night, which night was it that my brothers threw up?
That someone threw up in the sink?
Yeah.
Saturday
night. Like, so we woke up Sunday morning. Guys, calling my brothers out so hard right now. I woke up on Sunday morning after being out on Saturday, which we did like the same bar scene the night before. Came back. Well, I came back. Did I even tell you that? I left them out.
You left them out?
No, but like they said I could. So I was so fucked up. Like, I was like drinking, having a good time. You left. Mm-hmm. And so I knew you were back. So I was like, oh, I can leave at some point too. So I Ubered back. Alex gets me in the Uber. Alex looks at the Uber. Like, Alex just confirms that like this is my Uber and that like I'm in a safe car and I'm gonna get home. He had my location. He was watching me the whole time. Which, Alex, shout out to you if you're listening to this. I freaking love you. Like, you're like my big brother. Props. But so I left my brothers out, but I went up to all my guy friends. I was like, please keep an eye on my brothers. I have their locations, but I'm probably gonna pass out, so just keep an eye out. So my friend Tyler and Alex, they like both have been texting me updates of my brothers the whole time, like being like they're leaving or they're home, like just stuff like that. So I went to bed, but the next morning, I don't know what time they got back. It definitely was super late, and they were really quiet because I left my door open. My bedroom is on the floor of the kitchen, so I left my door open so that way if they did come home, I would be able to hear them, and I just like have that confirmation, okay, like I can sleep deeper now because I know they're home. And I didn't even hear them, so I slept through the night, and I wake up in the morning to bring Mac on a walk, and I look into the sink, and there's throw up all in the sink.
Trigger warning, vomit.
Yeah, sorry. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. I was gagging. Like, imagine waking up hungover and, like, you have, like, that cotton mouth from being hungover. You know what I'm thinking? Do you ever get that? And you just go over to the sink because you want to go get your water and stuff, and you just look down, there's throw up everywhere, and it smelled so bad.
The boys think, no one recalls doing it, but they were like, it had to have been Sam because she wouldn't have cleaned it if it was ours.
Oh, so really? That is so, I didn't hear them say that, but that is so annoying of them. They would never clean it. They're boys. They would not in a heartbeat. But wouldn't I clean it that night when I did it? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I were to throw up, I would have thrown up and then cleaned it. Or at least done it in my toilet. Not my sink.
That's why, because then David had already left. And I was like, just by chance, like last night, did you like venture to the kitchen and throw up? He was like, if I was going to throw up, I'd throw up in your toilet. And I was like, yeah, like, because I live like a floor above. Like, why would you get up, walk down a flight of stairs? Because like when I have a bathroom, like that doesn't make sense. So okay, it wasn't me.
The thing is, the boys have like done that before back home. Like, they've thrown up in my sink. Well, not my sink. Like, my family's sink before back home. So I know it was them for a fact.
So nasty.
It was definitely
disgusting,
Zach.
gross.
Zach blacks out so easily. Like, the first night he blacked out and fell asleep in the Uber. Like, you guys are a mess.
Insanity. But now it's wholesome time. I'm getting my life together, truly. Today I did yoga on my balcony.
Crazy.
No, you don't understand. It felt so good. Because listen to this. I've been saying, like, I used to be on my, like, oh my god, like, my health grind was, like, the most important thing in the world to me. And, like, obviously it still is a little bit. Like, I know to the average person, like, I still go to the gym a lot. Like, I'm vegan. Like, to the average person, they're like, no, but you, like, do healthy things. What are you talking about? But I used to be in this shit. I'd go on miles and miles of long walks and then do like yoga in my backyard and like I was in it, okay? Like I had this like journal over quarantine. I was like health, wellness, mindfulness to the max. And I was like, that used to make me feel so good and I would just get lazy and not do it. And I hadn't done it in like a year. And I was like, I need to go back to like that. And I was talking to Sam about it. A big part of it is that when I was very, very into it, part of it was because I was so into it because it was a little bit disordered. Because, like, I worked out so much and, like, walked so much because I feel like I had to. But then also part of it was because I did really like it. I'd listen to, like, a whole podcast on my walk. And, like, I would do yoga with Adrienne on YouTube. If you guys do yoga, you know who that is. She's, like, the OG person that does it on YouTube. Love that girl. I would, like, do one of those, and I'm not even kidding, feel like a new woman. It would feel so good. And I was really, really sore today everywhere. So I did, like, a stretching one. I just, like, stretched it out because I was so sore. And it felt really good to, like, do that, like, again, run like a 2-mile walk. It was a vibe because it was a rest day, so I just did that instead of lifting, and it felt really good. Back on my wellness girl, quarantine girl grind, except it's not quarantine. It was also having nothing to do. Couldn't leave my house, so I had to like come up with something, and that's what I did. So I'm just like pretending I'm in quarantine.
Yeah, I am really excited. I should have mentioned this before, but my parents brought me down my Feel Lucky stick and my whole Feel Lucky bag. Like, they checked the bag, brought it down through the airport. So one of you guys DM'd me on Instagram about a Feel Lucky League in October, and I'm going to be joining that. So I'm excited.
So fun.
I know.
I think I'm going to a boxing class next Tuesday.
Yeah, October's so far away. Now that I'm thinking about it.
It is, but it isn't. Like, August is going to, like, fly.
Yeah.
Like, it's really gonna be so fast.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this too. I feel like I'm talking to you guys and I'm gonna get like an immediate response. Like, you guys are gonna respond back right away. But again, let us know on Instagram if you guys were down maybe once a month to do not like maybe like a mix of a run/walk club, and like we could meet at Zilker maybe like once a month, because I know like people have things to do. Like, if we plan it out really far in advance, like we could work our schedules around it, and like maybe like, is this aggressive, but like a 5K?
5K is not that much. It's only like 3 miles.
No, I know, but like for the average human that doesn't really run, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's like a run walk.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I wouldn't run the whole thing. I mean, I used to, see, when we're talking about my health grind, I used to run like 3 miles at a time. Not now. But now I'd probably like definitely run a walk.
Would you do that though?
I would do it.
Like once a month? I would be like waking up at the start of each month, like looking forward to that date. Yeah. And it would also help us to like meet more faces, because I know there's a lot of people that live in Austin that are always like, I hope I see you out.
Yeah, that's why I'm really excited to like go. Like, I really was like wanting to do like a class and stuff, because also just like having like other accountability people, because like obviously we have each other, but like even a bigger circle of like,
course,
let's do this. Like, yeah, I'd love to like go to the park with you and walk, like even just a bigger circle of people like that.
Yeah.
It's just nice to have, because our friends are party animals.
Yeah, they are. Really bad. I told them they're such a bad influence. I can't believe the last weekend I haven't, like every weekend has been like 2 nights of drinking. I'm like,
but it's been fun.
Yeah, no, for sure it's been
fun.
But
we just need a break. That's why I'm also doing for this month 3 nights drinking. Preferably none, but that's like really ambitious because FOMO. But I'm giving myself 3. 3 is once a weekend plus 1 sober weekend. I already know this weekend's going to be the sober weekend.
Oh,
I have no
100%.
desire. So 100% this weekend's a sober weekend. And then for the rest of the month, it'd basically only be once a week, if that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I got my TikTok account back. Big news. I got my TikTok account back. My TikTok account is restored with all the people on it. I have it now. Friggin' wild. It's like a time machine. I opened it.
I was stalking it. I was like,
I had eyelashes. Like, I did. so much. I made a video. There was like a trend going around, which is like perfect timing, where people were like, what I've been up to recently, and they put like pictures, and I was like, oh my god, this is perfect, because I should post this, because no one knows what I've been up to. This account has been dead for March, April, May, June, for 5 months. For literally 5 months. And I'm scrolling back in my camera roll to find things. I have to go so back in my camera roll. Like, I was like, I got a cat. I was like, so much has happened in 5 freaking months.
Yeah.
I was like, what do I even put in here? Like, I don't even know. Like, it was literally like traveling back in time, looking at it. I was like, whoa, this is what I used to do. That engagement on that account was just crazy. I was looking back, I was like, oh, these videos have so many views.
Crazy. I get back into my TikTok gram. I've taken a break on it. I don't know why, but
I made like
I'm gonna
3
come
TikToks
back
today.
I think it's just because I don't scroll on TikTok, so I don't really know what to post when I go on it.
This is when on my other account. So like I'm still gonna have my other account, which is gonna be like my backup, because I clearly need a backup account. That one has nothing to do with trends on it. It's literally just random videos that go viral of people like talking. No trends whatsoever. I don't know what's trending sound. I don't know what dance. Nothing. Now this account, my main one, my For You page is like the trends and the ideas.
Yeah.
So I feel you on the, like, I didn't know what to really post either. Like, if I wanted to post, I'd have to dedicate, like, 10 minutes to going to, like, Charli D'Amelio, Olivia Ponta, like, going to, like, the big people.
I still do that.
Yeah, but, like, my For You page, I kid you not, is, like, just a girl being like, let me tell you about the time I got, like, robbed last week. And I'm like, ooh. Like, that's my For You page, not trends. So I literally have to, like, dig for the trends. But I will accidentally scroll on my main one, and I'm like, oh, this For You page is so boring, because, like, no offense. Like, it's just, like, I like my interesting little stories and viral videos. And, like, my For You page on the other one was, like, fitness. And I'm like, I want to see something that's going to make me laugh.
I know. I hate the fitness For You page.
Yeah, my other account is just, like, makes me laugh and is entertaining. So I scroll on that one.
Speaking of, like, TikTok and stuff, I did want to talk about this because I get quite aggravated by this. Quite aggravated. And that is that you guys put content creators on, like, different platforms than they need to be. Like, I'm the same human being as you listening to this right now. Like, there's no difference between me and you listening other than the fact that I have a platform to, like, share lots of fun, interesting things in my life. So my biggest pet peeve is when, like, someone comments on something and be like, why as a creator do you think it's okay to do this? And, like, so I posted...
To do what?
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So yesterday I posted a TikTok, and it's like a transformation of me doing lat raises. Mm-hmm. And the girl comments, like, why do you think as a content creator it's okay to do such fast-paced reps? Like, you have people that look up to you. Like, why are you doing such fast-paced reps?
I thought you were going to say something, like, actually, like, fast reps. Like, I thought it was going to be like, why do you think you can say this? Why do you fast reps?
No, but I'm like, so my point being is, like, why did you have to add in the fact that I'm a content creator? Like, why couldn't you just come to me and be like, why are your reps so fast? Why did you have to point out the fact that I'm a content creator? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I'm no different than you.
Also, the video wasn't here's how to do a ladders.
Yeah, I know, it wasn't. And the video was sped up. And so I go, so
you probably didn't know it was sped up.
I commented saying, the video, I go, it's sped up, and then someone comments after and goes, no, it's not, there's a guy walking in the background. It was only sped up by a 1.5.
And 1.5, like, for an exercise is, like...
A lot.
A lot.
And, like, the person in the back is walking normal, but it's only 1.5.
They could have been, like barely walking.
And
I want to go watch the video.
Yeah, go watch the video.
That's what I'm doing.
Go watch the video. It's
for
me literally doing lat raises.
That's what I'm watching.
And so I go, oh my god, I go, so then I just delete the comment, because I was like, it's getting, like, way too many likes, and this comment does not deserve the amount of likes it's getting. It's annoying. Like, just because I'm a content creator doesn't mean I'm any different than anybody. I don't know. That's my biggest pet peeve, when people address an issue that I've done and, like, say that's because I'm a content creator. I don't know. But yeah, my video was in fast motion because I was trying to fit in as many reps as possible into that short clip. So I sped it up a little bit. And I go, it's in a 1.5, and they're like, no, it's not. Prove it. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to delete this comment.
That guy did walk past kind of quickly. And also, those reps aren't even, like,
that's what I'm saying.
Also, here's my fitness hot take. Everyone's always coming for the speed of things. I don't think everything has to be so incredibly slow. Like, I was doing Like, I get that all the time. Like, let's say I'm doing a shoulder press and someone's like, slow down. Like, what if I want to, like, try to just go for as much, like, power as I can get?
Yeah.
Like, what if I wasn't trying to go slow?
Especially if I'm doing, like, 12 reps. I'm not taking my sweetest time for
yeah,
12
there's a
reps.
difference between, like, rush. And we've said this before. If you're actually working hard, not every set is going to be picture perfect, textbook perfect, tempo. Like, you're working hard.
Yeah.
Also, you got a comment being like, why do you never go past 15s? Because it's lateral raises and you don't increase by 5 pounds on, like, lateral raises.
I commented back on that, like, why are you comparing to me? Like, why does it matter what weight I'm using?
Has she seen... And she said, why do you never? As if she has a video of every single lateral raise set you've ever done.
I usually do.
You will use 20s.
I use 20. That's what I usually do. When I do a drop set, I do 20s and then 10s. But I always record myself with the 10s because the form looks better. I'm not going to post myself doing the 20s and then get backlash being like, maybe drop the weight you're doing it too.
And then you being like, well, I don't post the 20s. People be like, well, we'll post the 20s.
And then I post the 20s like, you're using too much weight. You shouldn't be using that. Oh, God, guys. You can never win.
Never, ever. Literally ever.
So bad. So...
That's hilarious.
That's my little 2-cent rant I had to give. But other than that, I'm just excited to like get back into this week and be more on top of everything because this past week has been a lot.
Do you want to do our little segments?
I would love to do the segments.
Okay, for our highs and lows of the week, my high is that my room is a little bit more together. I got nightstands and I put my bed in the spot I want it, and like all I need to do is hang my TV, get a bed frame, which I was telling Sam this, I have quite the dilemma because I have full memory of putting my card on the website, pressing order, doing all of that, and I can't find an order confirmation for the bed frame anywhere. So I have to like go through my credit card, like my debit card like statement and see if I like purchased the bed frame because I can't find it in my email. But once I get that and stuff, my room will be put together, but it's like halfway there and I love it. I love my nightstands. My nightstands bring me like immense joy. So that's my high, is my freaking nightstands. And my low, say your high first so I can...
Okay, my high is obviously that my family was here. I've been living here for a year and a half, and this is the first time my brothers have been able to see where I live. They absolutely loved it. And they actually said that they wanted to plan a trip coming back in the fall when they can come with my cousins, which I have 3 other really close guy cousins, and I would consider them my brothers, so I will have 5 basically brothers staying here again in the fall.
Amazing.
So get ready for that.
Yeah, you and me. You said that the other day, you're like, yeah, my guy cousins are going to come stay here. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully they can make it work.
But our house is so big that, like,
yeah,
it's, like, so chilling. My low is that now officially me and David are 1,000 miles away again. So,
that's sad.
fucking blows. But, I mean, it is what it is. And flights are so expensive. Yeah, that's like my actual low, that flights are so ungodly expensive. So I might have to fly in like an hour away, which is like, that's what I had to do in Florida anyways, because the closest airport was an hour and a half away. But that's just inconvenient and annoying, but the prices are out of control expensive. They're like over $600 to fly from Austin to Greenville, South Carolina. That is absurd. Like, for a $600 flight, I can do something so much cooler. I was literally looking when we were looking at the LA flights. It's the same price to go to LA first class.
Oh, let's do it. I'm kidding.
And I'm like, and you're telling me for $600 I can fly to South Carolina, like, back of the plane? Like, that's not even with, like, picking a seat.
Yeah. That's crazy.
What the hell?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I hope that goes down because it's really crushing my mood.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we're trying to go to LA at the end of the month. I love going to Zoo Culture. I don't know. I want to go to Zoo Culture, and then I have like a photo shoot that I want to do at the end of the month. So maybe see us in LA. But my low is going to be... Fuck, I had it in my head. Why did I forget? God.
Oh. Maybe it'll come back to you.
Now I'm really sad.
I know.
That really sucks. Yeah, no, I can't remember it. Yeah, give up. That's really unfortunate.
Okay. Well, other than that, I was gonna say that both of our pets have been bad boys. Mac ate so much of your brother's stuff, and he ate the top of David's Tito's hat.
Oh.
And he got another one. He was very, like, it literally at the top of, like, you know, the little top that's on, like, a baseball cap, like, little
He just
circle?
ate it off.
Like, ripped, like, the fabric, and he was like, oh my god, and then he was like, is it that noticeable? I was like, not really. He like, loves that hat. And the hat was, like, technically free, because my sister bought it for him. She's like, I'm gonna get another one. And he went and got another one out of his, too. And I was like, well, look, you can have your new one as, like, your nicer hat, and that one you can bring, like, on a boat. Like, you can bring, like, where it might, like,
fall off.
Like, get, like, a little messed up, and now you have 2 of these, like, hats. And, like, yesterday Phineas broke a cup. They're just... They
just think they run this house.
They literally do think
they think they're the men of the house.
They really think they run this house. It's like, they need to, like, pipe down.
Yeah, not okay. A little pissed about it.
They need to pipe down. It's truly uncool. Like, we pay the bills, we buy the food, we pick up the shit. We do it all. They'd be nothing without us.
Literally.
Where would they be?
Anyways.
Oh my god, wait, speaking of my TikTok being like a time clock, dude, this freaking video, Max in it, it's like kind of at the end, but like...
Oh, is he really small?
He's so small, like look how little he is. Mac is so
He's
small.
such a nugget.
I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, look at that. He's so little.
That's crazy.
I know, I just thought that was funny.
Oh,
like, wow, look how small he is.
Speaking of Mac, I don't know if you saw my Snapchat story, which add me on Snapchat, guys, if you haven't already. I've been doing a Q&A today, and someone asked, like, are you scared for Phineas and Mac to, like, separate? And then I responded saying, like, no, not really, because, like, I'm hoping my boyfriend will have a dog. And everyone's swiping like, boyfriend, you have a boyfriend. And I'm like, no, I'm speaking into existence, guys. Like, eventually, I'm hoping my boyfriend will have a dog already, so I don't have to buy another one.
And then for me, in terms of them separating, Phineas is a kitten right now, but once he hits like cat age, like a year, a little bit over a year, he's like gonna be totally chill. Probably never really hanging out with Mac again, because once he's like the hyper stage will be over and he'll be like, all right.
Yeah, and also, I think you have like kind of the same mindset as me. Like, you're gonna get another dog. Well, not another dog. You're gonna get another
pet.
Yeah, you're gonna get a pet.
Yeah.
So, I think I will never ever, no matter what, have just one dog in a house. I will make sure there's 2, just because I've grown up that way. And I just love seeing pets bond relationships with each other. I think it's the cutest thing.
Yeah, I had one dog and I always like wish she had a friend, but
Yeah.
I always had one animal.
So, anyways, let's get into this episode. I'm very excited.
Me too.
Adam Wright, he is a anti-diet culture counselor. He's an owner of a online fitness community, so you guys can check that out on his Instagram. But other than that, let's get right into the episode. All right, guys, we are here now with Adam. We are really excited for this entire episode. I think we're going to cover quite a lot. But before we get into it, Adam, would you like to kind of give a little basic intro for yourself?
Sure. My name's Adam Wright, Adam Wright Fitness on most every platform. I've been a personal trainer for 10 years. Started, like most trainers do, in a gym, and then sort of graduated to online, which is great for me because I get to work with people all over the world. I think in large part thanks to TikTok. That's kind of what made that possible. So that's probably where most people know me from. But what I do is basically I help people get fit, and like most personal trainers do. But the biggest thing that I do differently is I help people escape toxic diet culture, which is sort of what we are going to talk about today. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, would you say, because obviously TikTok is where I found you, and I feel like a lot of the girls listening have found you, would you say that's kind of where your content on that platform started, and it kind of just progressed and you just kept going with it? Or was there ever at any point on TikTok something else that you kind of had as your niche, or was this just always your niche?
It really has not been my niche the whole time. It's always something I have really believed. I mean, I used to be really overweight myself. I used to be like 260 pounds. So I've gone through a little weight loss journey, and I know what it's like to be on both sides of the, the spectrum. But no, I mean, when I first started TikTok, I was doing, I wasn't doing dance trends, but I was doing kind of like, humorous, funny videos, and that's kind of like where it started. But eventually it's very easy to grow on TikTok, and people really kind of found my content and resonated with it and what I spoke about. And what they really resonated with was, this idea that, hey, you can be healthy and be in any body size, and you know, you don't constantly need to be told that you need to lose weight, and you know, you have to be dieting at all times, and all these things that we've been told like our whole lives, and we're constantly bombarded with. So I just sort of leaned into that. I said, you know what, people really like this and they need to hear it. I don't think it's talked about enough. So I'm gonna talk about it.
Yeah, I think the one thing I do notice on social media is people are very sensitive to these types of topics because they can obviously correlate with like physical and mental aspects. So that's why I feel like people are really sensitive with it. So when we do have someone that like you who does an amazing job of like being so stern on your opinion, but also at the same time seeing both ends of it, I think you do a really good job with getting the message across on your platform.
Right, because I think as a coach, it could be hard to, for some coaches to say, you know, you don't always need to be in a diet, you don't always need to be trying to lose weight. Some coaches might have a problem with that because then how do you sell, let's say, programs to a client? Because if you're trying to sell, then to make the most money, tell everyone they need to be on a program, tell everyone they need to lose weight because that would bring in the money. So I see how for a lot of trainers that could be a hard balance of building like a trusting relationship with clients to trust that they're getting what they need and not just being sold programs to sell programs.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the hard part because you know, I've had people have a problem with me as a coach, as a personal trainer, saying, well, you know, how can you be anti-diet culture and also tell people that they need to lose weight? And I say that's the disconnect, is that I don't tell people to lose weight. But a lot of personal trainers, I mean, if we're being honest, our entire industry revolves around toxic diet culture. I want to say toxic, but just diet culture in general.
Of course,
That is our, you know, we are constantly surrounded by it, and to a degree, I'm sure to a large degree, are involved with it ourselves, and it influences us. So it is hard. It's hard to find that line, and I struggle with it too, of, hey, how do I help people become their best, healthy, happy selves, and also not tell them that they need to change their bodies or do this or do that, because that's not really it's not my place. I think it's a hard line. It's a fine line that I constantly walk, but you know, I think it's important to hear other people and hear what they're telling us. And I learn things from my followers, you know, because they experience things as a large population of a large demographic of my followers are still fat, still dealing with that. And so, you know, I constantly learn from them. So I think it's important for us as coaches not only to just say, hey, you need to do this, but also to listen. And that's how we learn too. Yeah,
that is a really good point. And that's why I kind of did a little bit of digging on your, what is it, Adam Wright Fitness, online coaching fitness? So I did a little bit of digging, and I really loved how you kind of approach things with like why your mindset is so important. And I'd love to kind of have you go over and explain that, whereas like the bad type of mindset to have and the good type of mindset to have, not only with like fitness and like food, just all the different aspects and how you can kind of change those mindsets.
Yeah, well, I think first thing we probably need to do is define what diet culture is. And so I would say that diet culture basically it's not the act of dieting, but it's a belief that like weight, shape, and size, usually thinness, is more important than your psychological, your physical health, and just your general well-being. And it influences a lot of things in our lives: how we speak, how we talk about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, what we wear, what we eat, you know, what we do. And mindset is huge in that, because it really affects our self-image, you know, again, how we talk about ourselves. Oftentimes I'll see that people kind of fall into this all or nothing mentality. I kind of put it in, so mindset's big because I tell clients a lot, when they first come on, what we often deal with is like think of like a grandfather clock that has that big pendulum at the bottom. A lot of times they will kind of swing one way, and then one day they're all in. You know what? I'm gonna go to the gym today. I'm gonna do all my cardio, be there for 3 hours. I'm gonna eat perfectly. And then if they screw up at all, or something goes haywire, they don't make it to the gym that day, or they don't have enough time to do their full workout, or they forget their pre-workout or something. Something goes wrong they didn't plan for, and all of a sudden it's all out the window, and they that pendulum swings the other way, and they just throw it all out. So the reason mindset is so big is so that we don't really fall into that trap of, okay, everything's gonna go really well, or it's gonna go terribly wrong. We find that middle ground and realize that success is just about that moderate. I'm like shoot for mediocrity. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for you to be perfect, because nobody is. And you set that expectation, you're going to be disappointed when you don't reach it.
Yeah. I liked how in the graphic that you had on your Instagram, you said one of them was, I need to work out to burn that food that I ate, and changing it into saying I need to exercise to keep my body strong and healthy. And I think that is such a good way to look at fitness and kind of change things, because I know at the very beginning of my fitness journey personally, my main goal when going to the gym was to burn off the food that I was eating, or just constantly in a cycle of the workout was actually a punishment rather than I'm going to the gym to become stronger and healthier. So now that I've transformed into that different mindset, my workouts are so much more enjoyable.
And I think that's really important. I love that you said that you enjoy the workouts, because that's a huge way that we can sort of get out of that toxic mindset of this transactional relationship between food and exercise. I think that finding something, a workout or an exercise or a class that you really like, is a great way to kind of start that mindset shift. Too often I think we link food and exercise together. I didn't earn, or I earned this food, I can eat that, or I have to burn off these exercise, or I have to burn off these calories. So yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. Find something that you like to do, something that is just fun for you, makes you feel good. It's not necessarily about changing your body. And then also, just setting fitness goals rather than weight goals. I think that's another great way to
I think weight
change that mindset.
Weight goals is definitely a big one. I used to be so fixated over the scale and the numbers of everything. And once I got out of that, which my question kind of for you is with the amount of clients you've seen, how was it that you were able to get your clients out of that number fixated cycle and push them towards more of I just want to be happier, healthier, and not focused on the scale?
It takes a lot of reminding. I think that's why having a coach, for a lot of them is important. Because many of them are surrounded by people now, their families, their friends, who have fed into that negative talk about, it could be a number of things. But it's really important to talk about, to constantly be reminding yourself, or have somebody remind you, surrounding yourself with people who sort of make you feel good about yourself rather than talk down to you. Because, God, I don't know, I feel like that sort of positive self-talk is a practiced skill. It's not something that's just going to turn on or off like a light switch.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of effort to get out of this. If diet culture was easy to leave, nobody would be here, because it's not a fun place to be.
Yeah, I would definitely say, just from my own experience, and Taylor, obviously put your input in as well, it's like you said, having the coach, or just having someone there to constantly not necessarily reassure you, or just kind of be there by your side if you needed it, because if you're alone in that state, it's very hard to get out of it.
Yeah, and I think the influences of people around you are huge. In high school, I was surrounded by a lot of girls facing the same issues of me, of just wanting to be really skinny and not eating and skipping meals to go to the beach and all of that toxic stuff. And I was surrounded by girls who did that all the time and had no shame in it, would tell me if I looked so skinny. We'd go get food and they'd be like, oh, I could never finish that. I could never, eat all of that. And then when we first hang out and we got lunch, we both cleared our plate at the same time, and I was like, this feels good to me.
Yeah,
this is positive to me that we both, and we were about to go to the beach, and before we went to the beach, we got Chipotle bowls, ate them all, and went to the beach, and I was like, oh my God, my other friends would have never ate all that food before going to the beach and bring a snack to the beach, and eat. They literally wouldn't eat. I'm from Miami, so we're at the beach all the time, and if we were in a bathing suit, they weren't eating food. So that day, I'm like, oh my god, there's girls you can hang out with that don't live like that, and will eat a whole Chipotle bowl and put on a bathing suit and take a picture. It's refreshing.
How old were you when that happened to her?
18.
See, and a lot of this, the problem is that it does happen at that age and even younger.
Mm-hmm,
I mean, this is something that affects people in elementary school, in middle school. It's constantly on, especially now. That, I mean, when I was in middle school, social media wasn't a thing, but now it's everywhere. It doesn't take long to run into this stuff as a teenage girl on TikTok, I promise you. I'm sure you guys probably know.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's scary because they don't know better. You're at a very impressionable age. And so when you see that, you need to avoid carbs, you need to, fast, you need to, burn off your calories or whatever, you're just going to believe it because why wouldn't you? You're 15 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially too, because a lot of people's parent influence, I feel like in our generation, our parents were the generation of the very toxic diets, not necessarily the influencer promoted diets, but the ones you pay for. I don't even know the names of them anymore, but the commercials on TV to do the diet, and they pay for it and they buy it, and my mom did a diet one time of with my sister where all they ate was chicken and rice and broccoli, and they had to take appetite suppressant drops. And they paid for it. They went to a nutritionist and they paid for it. And it's I didn't know any better. I was just wow, really strict diet you're on. Good job.
Yeah, it's kind of worse. It looks good in a way because you're wow, you're being really disciplined right now.
You're so healthy. Look at you.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because, I mean, you're right. It's not just social media. It does come from people in our lives of authority. I mean, we're talking doctors. Often, doctors are some of the worst perpetrators of toxic diet culture I think I've ever talked with or heard about. I also hear a lot of stories from PE teachers. My PE teacher told me that I needed to, burn off. It would take 20 laps to burn off 2 M&Ms, and they still remember that in their 20s or 30s. And it's disappointing because that stuff lasts a lifetime. It really does. It's indoctrination.
Yeah,
it's hard to come out of that.
I think one of the worst I've can remember / seen from previous clients of mine is the weight or weighing yourself at the doctor's office and the doctor telling you maybe you need to lose some weight, you're overweight, you're at risk, all of those things. And I just think that is crazy and so out of line that they can even say those things to you just from weighing you on a scale to check.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and oftentimes it doesn't have anything to do with the reason you're there.
I know. Yeah, it's.
I just had a client go in. He was telling his story. He works with one of my coaches, and he made a TikTok about how he went to the doctor who's having cataract surgery, and he's slightly overweight. But he's been losing weight, and he's 20 pounds down from where he started. And he went in and he met with his doctor. It wasn't his doctor; it was a substitute doctor, I guess, for that day, just for a pre-checkup for like a pre-op for his cataract surgery. And the doctor didn't care that he had been working with a coach, that he'd already lost 20 pounds. Didn't even ask him about it. What he did was prescribe him a shot of Ozempic, which is a weight loss drug for diabetics. He's not diabetic. And administered the first dose there in the office. And, he went in just to have his eyes checked.
That is insane.
So it was frustrating. He felt bullied, and he felt, violated. And it was really, really sad and upsetting. And, yeah, so, and that happens way too often. I've heard some real horror stories, from people I've spoken with, from commenters on my videos. It's a cycle, and it starts with people who are very impactful and meaningful in our lives, who are supposed to know better, who have unfortunately very little training when it comes to weight loss.
Wow,
Doctors and other sorts of authority figures.
I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, no, it
That's
is crazy. And I'm happy we did talk about that because obviously for most of this episode we're going to be talking about social media, and it's good to address the fact that it does happen outside of social media, whether it's your doctor's office, dentist, I don't know, you name it. But I kind of want to jump into talking about all the TikToks, all the examples of diet culture, because I think it's so important that we do talk about specific examples, because some people listening right now may not even notice that, oh my goodness, like this is so bad, I don't even know why I saw this TikTok and maybe agreed with it or was going to attempt it or whatnot. There's just so much out there. I used to, back in the day when I first started my Instagram, I used to be huge on diet culture. I used to make so many TikToks and stitches, duets, but I ended up stopping doing it because I got way too sensitive to the fact that people thought I was like bullying the person of
Me too.
talking about it. I was like, you know what, I can't do the controversy, so I stopped doing it, but I should put that highlight on my Instagram back up. But some of the previous ones that you've done, one that I saw that I really liked was the exercise needed to burn off a McDonald's fry. So there was a guy, he had McDonald's fries in his hand, and he was like, this is what you need to do in order to burn it off, and you just completely cut him off and address the whole situation. So if you want to give your kind of input, again, to here on the podcast of what your opinions are of addressing a food and saying this is how to burn that exact meal off.
Yeah, so this guy's there. Oh, he's made several
great.
videos about that, and I just reposted one that went super viral about another coach in a very similar situation, talking about how many jumping jacks it took to burn off an Oreo. And it's this idea that a food is only worth the amount of calories that it takes to burn off, and there's no other intrinsic value in this food. It's just silly. We don't need to be teaching people, especially personal trainers. We should know better. We should not be teaching people that they need to constantly chase the fork with exercise. All it does is create an irrational fear of food, a resentment towards exercise by using it as a punishment. And then oftentimes, if we're their coach, we're giving them an incentive to lie to us about what they're eating. And we don't want that. We don't want them to lie to us. No, I didn't have anything. I don't know why I didn't see results this week. Well, okay, because we told them if they ate an Oreo, they'd have to do so many jumping jacks.
Yeah. I think it's also a bit of a lack of like knowledge and like intelligence on the trainer to not even account for like that your body also like burns calories on its own, and it's like if you went trying to do jumping jacks for every single bite of food you ate, like what about your basal metabolic rate? Like what about your non-exercise activity? What about all like your TDEE, like all the calories you burn through a day that like you burn anyways? Like it makes it seem like burning calories is only through like jumping jacks.
It's only done through exercise.
And not that you're burning throughout the day.
Yeah, you're right. It is a lack of education on the trainer's part, and unfortunately, it is very heavily believed. And so, what I really try and do, and what I try and help other coaches do, including the ones that work for me, is we try and just teach people that it's okay to eat the foods you like in moderation. If you can fit it into, like, if weight loss is your goal, and it's not for everybody. I mean, the diet culture doesn't matter if you're trying to lose weight, gain weight, anything. But if weight loss is your goal, we can totally fit the foods that you like into your daily calorie goals because of your BMR, TDE, all that stuff. So as long as we can account for it, you can eat it. It's not a huge deal if you have 2 Oreos.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is where I'd like to ask you, like, what are your opinions on cheat meals too? Because I personally and Taylor, we kind of stand in the same position of we just don't like the idea of cheat meals. I don't understand why you need to have a burger and fries as a cheat meal when you could totally have it within your macros throughout the day. So I'm assuming you're probably going to say the same thing, but obviously.
Yes, we are on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, all it does is really immortalizes food. It implies that you're doing something wrong by cheating. You're bad because the rest of the week you were good, but today I'm going to be bad because I earned it or something. That's usually the theory behind it. And so, yeah, it really is sort of, it can be dangerous. I feel like I don't think it's inherently dangerous, but the tricky part is really what that sort of is an excuse to binge eat. And so you sort of fall into this restrict binge cycle, and at the very least that's disordered eating, and at the worst that's a full-blown eating disorder. So you have to be careful, because if you are very restrictive all week long, and this is on like a mesocycle, we're very restrictive this whole week, and then the weekend we're going crazy, those are my cheat days. That's exactly what you're doing, is you're restricting and binging, and that's not a good place to be at. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, there's these Instagram graphics. You've probably seen them. I see them like all the time. Maybe on Friday I can find it and put on the podcast Instagram story what I'm talking about. But basically people write like the week, and they put like a salad for like Monday, like it's like what you think is going to happen, and they put the salad emoji for like all 7 days. And then it's like what you, like, because you think you're only going to eat salad every day, what actually happens is like you overeat on the weekends by like 2,000 calories. And then it's like, but if you were realistic, and then it's like a salad, a donut, another salad, like just mixing in the random foods in the week, it was like you would have hit your calories just fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
and it's like a
absolutely.
stupid little graphic of like emojis and food, but it's 100% correct and makes perfect sense. And it might be hard to
and
get the visual.
It really, I've just started seeing this new thing on TikTok, Instagram, called calorie banking. Have you heard of this?
I don't know.
It's the idea that you can, so let's say your average goal by the end of the week is 14,000, okay? Your average calories by the end of the week, 14,000. So what you can do is you can sort of save up your calories by having less Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday you can go more because you ate a little bit less. And that is, on paper, it can work, right? Realistically, if that's what happens, yes, it should work. But it's sort of, again, that excuse to binge and restrict. And I'm seeing more and more posts about this calorie banking. I don't love it. For some people, maybe it works. But I would never recommend something like that to my clients.
Yeah, no, I don't. Now that you say that, I've heard of it, but I've never heard the term for it. But I totally agree. I feel like now I feel like I have to say this all the time, but you got to keep in mind for like where someone is with the relationship with food. Now, if you are in a very sensitive area with a relationship of food, something like that's not going to work for you. But if you are very good with food and you are kind of not have like cheat meals, but like you're able to in a healthy way enjoy more food on the weekends rather than during the middle of the week, then I totally think it's okay. But for the most part, I just don't see the need for it.
Yeah, I think it was your video that you did one time, like the little skit. It could have been someone else, but I think it was yours. With like someone being like, but I'm just so hungry at night, so I save my calories for nighttime. And it's like, you're hungry because you saved the calories and didn't eat.
Yeah.
Like, that's why you're more hungry. If you would have just ate, you would have been fine. And what I think with the calorie banking is the reason you want to go so hard on the weekend is because you've spent the last 5 days just dreaming about food. And if you would have just ate the food, you wouldn't have wanted it, which is the place we got to. One time we got donuts, and like I think you went and picked them up, and like I didn't eat mine and you ate yours, and I left mine to eat the next day. And someone commented on my YouTube video where I posted that, they were like, you just like had a donut in your house on the counter and didn't eat it? Like how did you just leave it there? I was like, well, because I got to a place that I don't need to have a donut just because it's Saturday. I could eat the donut Monday if I want it. I just didn't want it. Like, and when you put such strict emphasis on what you can have and when, like that comment shocked me of the girl being like, oh my God, like you just left it there and like waited until you wanted it. I was like, yeah, I just waited until I wanted it. It didn't have to be because it was Saturday. I could eat on Tuesday. I could eat on Wednesday. I just didn't want it at that time.
Yeah.
And
that's such a common thing. Not you. You're uncommon. Being able to not eat that donut.
Oh, it wasn't forever. It was not forever.
The people that I speak with, and even myself to a degree, because I mean, if I'm being honest, I still struggle with binge eating disorder. That stems back from high school. So that's something that I have struggled with and still struggle with. But yeah, I mean, it's very, very common thing to, I can't buy this, I can't have it in the house because I'll go crazy. But the problem is that what's happening is we sort of are putting our food our vices on this pedestal of saying, oh no, it has so much power over me that I can't even be in the presence of this thing, or I'm going to go nuts. And unfortunately, what happens, we never let ourselves have these foods, is when we do, we go just bananas. And so it's sort of, again, that sort of restrict and binge cycle. In fact, I just made a post about sort of what you're talking about, Taylor. I said the more frequently you actually have these foods, and it sounds counterintuitive, but the more frequently we have these foods, the less likely we are to overeat. So if you have a small bowl of ice cream twice a week, you're a lot less likely to eat the entire pint on the weekend.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just, hey, it's just I have ice cream twice a week. I don't need to go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd like to say it did take me a while to get there. This is not something I've been just born with and naturally given. That was it took me a long time to get to that point, and a lot of hard work.
Yeah, I was definitely
it is.
I was gonna say I always went from I was very restricted, and then I studied abroad, and when my time abroad I was introduced to so many different foods and cultures and stuff, and that's when I spent a good amount of time binging, and I ended up gaining quite a lot of weight. But from those 2 time periods, it ended up when I got home being a restrictive binging. It was back and forth. So I went from restrictive to binging to then a cycle of both of them. And I think what it was for me, realizing that I didn't have to fear any of these foods, is that 2 days later, after actually enjoying the foods, whether it was mac and cheese I had for dinner or just anything that was a big fear food of mine, was realizing and reflecting, actually sitting down and realizing that food I ate did nothing to my body. Because for the longest time, I used to think that all of these foods that were labeled as bad were really so bad for my body, and that it was going to cause these horrible issues. I was going to gain tons of weight or whatever it was. And then I took the time to actually sit down, reflect, and realize that if anything, it kind of benefited me, because I was so restricted that when I actually ate that food, I had a little bit more energy. My workouts were a little bit better. So for me, it was the mental sit back and realizing that this food was beneficial. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened for me.
And I think that is such an important thing to remember for us, and then also for the viewers. It's guys, food does not only have one purpose. It's not fuel for your workout. It's not just sustenance. Food is so much. It means, it's about emotions and culture and taste, mm-hmm. and having a social life. And it's okay to have food because you want it, not just because you need it. Oftentimes we definitely put this food into I totally lost my train of thought. Mm-hmm. Hold on.
You're good.
You're good.
Anyway, let's go back. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying you were kind of going off of what I was saying about being abroad. I was introduced to more cultures, different types of food, and when I was abroad, I didn't want to miss out on any of that, but I didn't know how to control myself in those situations, because I came from such a passive restricting that when I introduced myself to it, I didn't know how to stop. I would eat it, and I literally did not know how to stop.
I remember where I was going with this.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that we assign this morality to food, and it's good or it's bad, and it's healthy or it's unhealthy. We just sort of dichotomize the things that we eat, and mm-hmm. the reality is that health is a spectrum, and this is what I tell people a lot. Health is relative. You're not healthy because you ate an apple, and unhealthy because you ate a brownie. It's not that simple. If it was, then weight loss and health would be a lot less complicated. It's really about your overall diet. It's about what your lifestyle looks like. You can be healthy and eat brownies, and you can live a largely unhealthy lifestyle and have an apple as well. So it really is an accumulation of things, and not just one. Not just one thing.
I actually was doing a Q&A on my Snapchat earlier today, and I had this one girl, and she asked me, she's like, I really want to have a social life and go out, but absolutely terrified of the calories from the alcohol and the calories from the junk food. And I realized too, I was like, this kind of correlates with what we're talking about of just like the fear of like calories, the bads, and not really looking into and reflecting on life and how important it is. And like you said, the memories that are made from, going out and eating food, getting drinks with friends. It's like, what is more important? And I honestly think like, obviously, yes, finding the balance of the two, but you don't want to come into a point in your life where you're so restricted that you can't even hang out with your friends.
Yeah, I like to say memories over macros. I'm going to make a t-shirt. Memories over macros for sure, because there are things that are more important than life. And making, I promise, a big event in your life, let's say you go to your wedding, and you are not going to remember 20 years down the road what weight you were at your wedding. What you will remember is the people you surrounded yourself with, that, how much fun it was, how handsome your husband was or whatever. It's not about, okay, how did I look in that dress?
Yeah.
It is. It may seem like that at the time.
Oh,
but down the road, there's things way more important.
Honestly, with that too, like I've done some reflecting too, even like in past years, looking at photos of myself and being like, wow, I really thought in my head I looked a certain way that I did not like, but then you look at the photos, you're like, I don't know why I ever thought that. Like, you get so wrapped up in your head in the moment, whether it's like body image, the food you're eating, the uncomfortableness from like the amount of food you ate, whatever it is, and then like even 3 months down the road, if you would look back on that, you would not remember.
Even, I'm going to give an example that just happened when we were just before filming this podcast. So I made a TikTok, and I redid it like 3 times. I was like, look a little weird in it. I was like, it's not the most flattering, I'm not looking the best. And then I looked back at the drafts and literally posted it right, like this just happened. I posted it right before we sat down. And I looked back at the first draft that I took before I redid it, and I was like, I look fine. I was like, this is a good video. Like, why did I redo it 4 times? I was like, this one, I look just fine. Like, where did I think I like look bad? And that like, sometimes it takes like months, but that one literally took me like a good 20-minute reflection of me being like,
see,
that's
and this
not
is
even
good.
a bad
And this
video.
is good to acknowledge and appreciate, because I mean it still happens to us. I mean, we are victims of diet culture, the same as everybody else.
100%.
It impacts everybody, everyone.
Yeah, I think it's just trying. Like, I feel like it's not getting rid of the thoughts completely, because depending on how long they've been with you, it's hard to completely ditch them. I think it's just putting like logic and reasoning like first, like. I don't know, like not letting your fear and the emotion and the good and bad go like havoc on your brain when you can just use like logic of like, it's only one time, it's moderation, and like go about your life with the facts. That's what just helped me is just literally using the facts, like we were talking about with the food, with like the good and bad food, something that like happened, we realized this like when we first moved in, like I don't know, there's time we would always talk about it, how we realized the bread we had and the rice cakes we had basically the same macro label, and for some reason people think rice cakes are like a healthy low calorie food. The bread had the same calorie as the rice cake that we had in our house, but people think, oh, bread will make you fat, quote unquote, it's unhealthy, and we're like, it's the same. Like if you use factual logic, they're both like, it doesn't matter, but the ideas of like the nonsense get so in your head that you can't even focus on the fact that like, wait, these literally say they're the same calories, so what am I doing? And the bread probably tastes better.
And there's so much misinformation on social media, on the internet in general. People are talking about, oh, it's going to spike your insulin and all this stuff, and bread over the rice cakes, and people don't know what to believe. And it's frustrating as coaches, because I hear people repeat and regurgitate what they've heard from this TikToker or that TikToker, and they were wrong to begin with. And so now we have more misinformation spreading, and those videos tend to go ultra viral.
Yeah.
Have 3.5 million views, and so people, then that just makes our job harder.
Yeah. 100%. Now I would love to dive into like your opinions on the difference between hardcore discipline and your restricted dieting. Because I know you did a TikTok of someone that had really plain ass chicken, like no seasoning, no nothing, and everyone in the comments and even themselves was like clapping for themselves because they were doing such a great job hitting their goals with such basic food. And I'd love to hear like your thoughts on that, because personally I think that's type of restrictive dieting is a little bit toxic.
Yeah, I agree with you, and you really have to consider a lot of things,
of course,
to figure out like, okay, what is discipline and what is disordered. Maybe that's kind of like a better way to put it, because I think that, so for example, I have a couple of coaches who are bodybuilders, they're bikini competitors. They are very, very strict and very rigid on their cuts, on their preps.
Of course.
But they also work with clients who come from my page, right? Where they struggle with, going all in or all out. They struggle with these diet culture beliefs. And so those girls have to really, find that line of, okay, this is what I do because this is my prep, but you normally shouldn't, right? Most people, general public, shouldn't be doing this. So it really does, you really have to consider who we're talking about. For the people that I work with, general public, 99% of people, for anyone who's listening who's not a bikini competitor, you don't need to be weighing your food at a restaurant. You don't need to eat unseasoned chicken, right? And that does not mean that you are being disciplined. That means you are being overly restrictive. I think discipline is just, I think it takes more discipline to eat the foods you like in moderation than it does to cut out all foods and, only eat broccoli and chicken breast, honestly. Because those are boring. Nobody wants to eat nothing but chicken and broccoli. You could do it, but it's kind of suck. It takes more discipline, I think, eating one cupcake and not wanting to go back for a second and third for most people.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
And the difference is, we're going to be able to do that over a long period of time. That is going to take a lot of work, rather than your chicken and broccoli diet, which might last you a month, and then you just you can't take it anymore and you binge out on everything else.
I think it's hard over social media when people see one thing of someone's life and assume so much about their relationship with food, or make blatant statements about what's diet culture and what isn't. Because one thing, the prep is a huge one. People think everyone that bodybuilds is disordered. Now, I'll never understand that, because to me it's like any other sport. You train hard for your sport, no matter what it is. So I think it's the same thing. But I also think it's so interesting where some people think, something in rice for every meal, so plain and boring. And some people would get sick of it in 2 days. Then I think of people my boyfriend has zero attachment to food. Perfectly fine relationship with food, eats when he's hungry, doesn't eat, eats what he wants, doesn't eat what he doesn't want. Clean relationship with food, does not care about anything, it blows my mind. I'm so you just don't I don't know, to be so non-attached to food is crazy to me. But he does kind of eat just steak and rice, chicken and rice, often. Just because that's what he wants and it's easy, and he doesn't want to cook. And it's just crazy to me that there's people that live like that, so unattached to food. And someone, if he was here's what I eat in a day, measuring out chicken and rice, people might be you're just you have a problem. He's just this is just what I want to cook in my college apartment because it's easy.
That's a really good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's so, that's not a lot of people, but there are a lot of people that just have no food attachment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to, I agree with you. You definitely is easy to assume a lot in one video or whatever. And I think that kind of just happens with social media.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of that's how we do it on TikTok.
Yeah.
We see one video, we respond to it. That's that's how it happens. Not a lot of context a lot of times. When I make my videos, I try and just speak generally rather than attacking that one person. Although, I have been known to do that at times. But
sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah, sometimes it is warranted. But yeah, think it's important to realize that for the general populace, we want to be able to eat the foods that we like within reason. Whether that be chicken and rice, hey, if you like it, you want to have it every day, that's perfectly fine. But you also shouldn't feel bad about going out to eat. You also shouldn't feel bad about, going on vacation and having a nice meal, or going to a birthday and having a slice of cake. But there's such guilt and shame attached to those foods for a lot of people, especially people who struggle with their weight, that they just can't even enjoy themselves at any occasion.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
bad. It really is.
Yeah, it's. I mean, and I agree 100. Like what you said a little bit ago, that the scale at the restaurant is. I know what I think I know what TikTok you're talking about. Like that video of the scale at the restaurant was just. If I was their server, I'd be like, "Can I switch tables?
Yeah.
Can I go to somebody else? I'm not doing."
No, yeah.
It's too much.
I think it is definitely really important to understand the difference between discipline and disordered, because some people can get really carried away with thinking, if they are being disordered with it, thinking that what they're doing is really, really healthy. Because there will be people out there that see it, that's like, oh wow, like that's really disciplined, that's great, that's awesome, and then they get even more carried away with it. It's very dangerous.
Yeah, the hype up from the other people is insane of how it affects people. Like we've known people who, let's say we know that they're maybe going through some disordered habits, and they post a new diet, prep, or whatever it may be on Instagram, and other people are just in the comments like, so proud of you, like keep going, you're killing it, and we're like, wow, because they only know the person.
Yeah.
Let's say
They're
through
in, they're in a giant echo chamber.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they only know the person through like a screen. So I mean, the people commenting don't know, right? Like you're just trying to support a friend. Like they don't know the ins and outs. But let's say you've seen something and like one end of it, that when you see the comments hyping someone up and supporting someone to keep going, and you're so disciplined, and look at you go, and look at the progress, and then on another end, sometimes I'm looking at someone like they're like destroying themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, there's one that I fervently remember about a girl, I think she was a fairly young girl, maybe early 20s or something like that, who had talked about, she was doing like this, I think it was a 72-hour water fast, where she didn't do anything but drink water for 72 hours. She lost this much weight. It was, her before and after. And I'm like, this is a giant red flag, people. This is a problem. But her entire comment section is like, oh, wow, tell us more about that. How'd you do it? Like, is it okay for, a 13-year-old to do this? Things like that. And I'm like, what is this video doing? It is, if you did this under the supervision of your doctor, that's one thing. But now you're posting it for millions of people on the internet to see. And this is a disaster.
It really goes to show how bad the internet is. It's so bad. I could write out a massive list of just examples of that type of stuff. It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, like Sam said, both of us used to sometimes make videos being like, kind of like videos how you make, stitching someone and talking about it. Props to you for taking the heat on it. We kind of got a little bit pushed away from it. But I remember one that I did, this was like a year ago now. This girl made a video sharing, now it wasn't her diet that she made up, so no fault to her really, other than the fact that she's who I saw post it. It's some guy who like coaches models and had this whole plan. And it's like, no protein before or after workouts because you don't want to get too bulky, no eating after a certain time. No, the list, it was like my jaw like hit the floor when I watched the video. I was like, what is this? It was crazy. It was so bad. And I stitched the video and I was like, this is like literally going to end up putting teenage girls in the hospital. Like this is really not okay. And people do what works for them. Like she's just trying to like better herself. Like, how are you talking down on someone that's just trying to better themselves and like get healthy? And I'm like, no, like, and it's just hard to say, that's not the point at all. I'm not talking down on the girl for wanting to get healthier. Telling girls to not eat after 3 p.m. and never eat protein because they're going to get bulky, it could seriously land a 13-year-old girl in the emergency room quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's because they don't know better. They're going to try whatever they want because all they want is to be thin. And that's because, circling back to the theme today, diet culture glorifies thinness.
Yeah.
It tells everybody that it's worth it at any cost.
Yeah.
You know, whatever it takes to get down and be thin, do it.
Yeah.
Eating disorder, do it. Skipping meals, do it. Drugs, do it. You know, weight loss pills, whatever.
Yeah.
And if we're sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna jump into the yo-yo dieting because like I feel like that's a good kind of way to segue into that, because what you're saying is like trying so many different new types of dieting, which can lead into a very bad cycle. So yeah, do you want to jump into what you were saying, or do you want to?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So yo-yo dieting is basically weight cycling, right? It's a pattern of dieting to lose weight, and then you regain that weight, and then you diet again, like a yo-yo, up and down. And it's sad because a lot of times when you weight cycle like that, and we're not talking bulk and cutting, right? We're not talking about like 10 pounds here and there. We're talking like 40, 50, 60 pounds up and down. The problem is, well, one, that does a massive amount of damage on your heart and just your body in general to keep doing that. But it's frustrating for them because they're like, well, it worked before. Why is it not working now? And that's when that's when they go back to, fad diets. Well, I did it once, so I'm going to do it again. And you're just stuck in this massive cycle, and it's frustrating, and it's dangerous, and it's really unnecessary. That's the problem. We as coaches need to do a better job of helping people realize that they don't need to take these massive extremes to lose weight. And it's just sad. The amount of people that I talked to who told me, oh yeah, I've lost weight, 4 or 5 times. I just can't keep it off.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got a lot of unlearning to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, so for someone listening right now, can you kind of explain what, for a client or a listener that has been doing the yo-yo dieting, maybe doesn't realize it, and they're gaining weight, losing weight, gaining weight, losing weight, will you kind of explain to them why that is, why they are constantly going through this cycle and what's actually happening with their bodies?
Yeah, so some things that I see in people who yo-yo diet a lot, an obsession with the scale. And specifically that number on the scale going down every time. They don't care about potentially gaining any muscle, which often is the result, of maybe a little bit of weight training. Your weight went up because you added some muscle. They don't care. They want that weight to go down. The need to see fast results instead of more slow, sustainable results. Overly restrictive diets, making certain foods off limits, like carbohydrates or sugar or or fat. That all or nothing mindset that we've talked about, where people just go all in and they go crazy and they do everything right for a certain amount of time, and then something interrupts that and they go all out. All of those things are really big contributors to yo-yo dieting.
Yeah.
I think what's really important is what you said about like the damage that it puts on your body, like the physical damage, because that was a big thing for me. I think getting more educated on just how bad going through those cycles of restricting and all that is for your body. Now, most of them, the effects that I knew that I was told to focus on, like women, like you're going to lose your ability to have kids. Your hair is going to fall out. Your bone, you can start breaking a hip at 35 years old if you fall.
Yeah, organ damage.
Things like that are it's real. And I feel like at first I was just oh, but whatever. And I think once it hit me that wait, that's actually real. And I don't know, just seeing how getting more educated on the physical damage, and not just oh, you're gonna be upset that you gained and lost weight, but what's actually going on, that is it worth not really being mobile by the time you're 50 because you destroyed your body.
And it's ironic, isn't it? Because most people think, well, I'm losing weight and that is healthy. And in reality, It's not always. It depends on the method behind it, depends on, how many times you have done it. Being healthy or being thin is not always equated with health. It's just not.
Yeah. And I think a few of the really big, like, diet culture / yo-yo dieting diets that I see a lot of girls our age or just, like, in our demographics or anyone listening, honestly, is just would be the keto diet, intermittent fasting, and lately a very big one that I've seen has also been carnivore dieting. And
oh my god,
yeah,
I'm plant-based, like I eat vegan, so this carnivore nonsense
Me too.
of like eating the raw meat, I really can't do it. I really
You can
can't.
thank the Liver King for that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I really cannot.
yeah, so these are just some of the big ones that we've seen. And one thing that I really stand by is, like, looking at that diet and thinking to yourself, is this going to last me the rest of my life? Am I going to be doing this lifestyle, this type of eating, till I'm 80 years old? And if you're going to say no, I just don't see the point in eating that way, because you want to be eating for fun, memories, enjoying it. So I would obviously love to hear your opinions on, like, all of these fad diets and, yeah, just kind of give your input.
Sure. So, okay, you talk about keto.
Yeah.
I have to be careful because fans of keto are big fans.
They will come at you.
They will come at me, for sure.
Yeah.
I have made my thoughts on keto very clear on TikTok, but the way that I kind of like to explain it is, think about if you were going on a 10-mile run, okay? Losing weight is this 10-mile run. You've got two paths you can choose. One, you have a nice, comfortable path. It's great weather. You're in comfy shoes. It's not too rocky or too hilly. Or you could take option 2, and you're running across rocky terrain with no shoes. It's extremely hot, and you're in the middle of summer. It's like you can choose either way. You're going to get to where you want to be, but one path is a lot more difficult. It doesn't have any additional benefits, and that rocky ass path is your keto diet. You may get there, but I mean, why? I don't know why. I don't like keto because it's extremely challenging. It's going to leave you with a terrible relationship with food, and although it can work, it's only because you're in a calorie deficit. So why not just do a regular, normal calorie deficit instead of giving up all the tasty things in this world?
Yeah.
Giving up carbs is just silly to me. Unless you have a medical reason to do it.
Yeah, they just replace everything with cheese, and I'm like, how do you think
and butter,
how do you think that's like less volume for the cat? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, when they're like, here's a keto snack, and it's just like cheese. I'm like, you could have had a way bigger snack.
Yeah.
You just ate cheese?
Yeah.
My brother did keto, not to call him out. He doesn't listen to this. But he did keto like a while ago, and he lost a lot of weight. And I would try to tell, this is when I first got into it, and I would try to tell them, and my whole family, I still always try to convince everyone, but I'm like, it's literally not the keto, it's just the calories. Like, I don't, like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? I don't get it. Like, and he's like, but it's working. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it for now. And he ended up, like, gaining the weight back and is, like, back where he was. And it's just, like, it's frustrating because when people are so die hard on, like, something like that, they just won't listen.
And it's really interesting because their definition of success is different than mine. They'll say, well, it worked for me once before, so I'm going to do it again. I say, it didn't. It didn't work for you once before, because if it worked for you, then you wouldn't be having to do it again.
Yeah.
My basic success, I think it's sustainability. That's success to me. It's not whether or not it worked. Any fat diet will likely work at first.
Of course.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I would tell him, no, it didn't work. I think the same exact thing, it didn't work.
Yeah. Like, one really big one, like I said, is the carnivore diet that I've been seeing for, like, a while now. And I just, same thing. Like, why get rid of all the bread and all, because, was it
fruit?
Yeah. Well, no, carnivore is things that you, if you were just living out in nature, like, all you could get is,
well,
like,
some people, like, there's a girl on TikTok who, like, literally, like, some of them are strictly, like, animal protein only.
Yeah.
Like, there's a girl on TikTok who eats, like, for breakfast, she eats, like, butter in her coffee and, like, a steak and, like, no vegetable, no fruit, no bread. Like, all she eats is
So
animal.
it's like paleo to the extreme now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just can't. I just don't
No nuts
understand.
or seeds, just meat.
Yeah, I just don't understand like the desire to do it. I feel like people get on a high of seeing results that they think that they love their diet so much, like enjoying it with the foods, that they just completely forget about like anything else, any other diet, any other food. They just are seeing the results and they're like, this is the diet for me, I'm doing this forever. But then they actually don't realize that they may need to end up doing this for a while, because if they end up jumping back into like regular eating, it's going to be a hard jump to jump back into just eating how you were before from that very, I don't want to say restricted diet, but yeah, it is a restricted diet.
I think what's interesting about the carnivore diet is, I know some people probably obviously do it for weight loss, but I see a lot of people doing carnivore diets as like a just health thing. Like maybe they're already jacked, lean, like they don't need to lose weight, and they just think it's like healthy. They think they're getting rid of like toxins and this, and it's carnivore diet and it's so good for them and it's healthy. Like, and it's just like an internal health thing. And like to me, that's like another part of diet culture besides weight loss, of just being so consumed by like no processed food, no this, no that. Like you're gonna go that far into thinking you can't eat processed food that you're eating like raw liver for breakfast. That's
Raw
wild.
testicles,
Yeah, that's like, it's like you can eat something in a package. I promise you, it's okay.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. A couple crackers is not going to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's and and then people with giant platforms like a certain giant podcaster who do the carnivore diet and rave about it. They don't help our cause.
Oh yeah.
Either.
Everyone's gonna follow it.
Yeah. So it's a constant battle. It's a nonstop source of content for me.
Oh,
But,
100%.
Oh yeah, that keeps this
job
podcast
security.
running. We wouldn't be here without it.
Yeah.
Right. But it's, from the client's perspective, or from our viewers, it's frustrating. What the heck am I supposed to believe out there?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I kind of want to wrap up this podcast by just kind of asking, like, what is advice you would give someone trying to get out of that constant cycle of the yo-yo dieting? What would be the first steps for them physically, and then what would be the first steps for them mentally?
I think that it's important to remember that for most people, exercise and health and fitness should be an important part of your life, but it doesn't need to consume your life. I think it's really important to remember there's other aspects to living: family, relationships, career, education, hobbies. There's also more to health than just physical health. There's mental health, spiritual health, emotional health. Your life does not need to revolve around what foods you can or cannot eat. Doesn't need to revolve around how many times you went to the gym that week. For some of us in this field, that's how it is on a day-to-day basis. But for 99% of people, you don't need to live like that. As far as like ways to fight diet culture, I think physical steps. I think making exercise, like you mentioned earlier, Sam, a part of your life. Doing it because it's good for you. Yeah, doing it because it feels good. Not doing it just because it's going to change your body. I think stop putting weight loss and leanness on this pedestal of this is what I always need to accomplish, and stop revolving your life around those things to the detriment of your health and your well-being, especially your mental health. I also think that focusing on what your body can do, being neutral, like you've heard a lot of people have heard about body positivity. That's a hard place for a lot of people to be in. What I think is a good middle ground is body neutrality, which is, hey, I appreciate what my body does. I may not love it all the time, but it does a lot for me. My legs keep me moving, my lungs keep me breathing, and my muscles help me get through this workout, and it feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
Those are small things we can acknowledge to help kind of get out of this. Okay, I need to eat, or I need to work out because I ate.
Yeah.
As far as mental steps, you wanted to kind of talk about mental ways to fight diet culture. I think that avoiding harmful forms of social media.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Huge.
that. I was gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, especially people who, make you feel, it doesn't even need to be their intention, but there's so many different niches and parts of TikTok, Instagram, whatever. If somebody makes you feel bad, even unintentionally on TikTok or any other social media, unfollow that person. You don't need that negativity in your life. You don't need that. Like, if it made you feel bad, okay, you know what? I'm gonna kind of reevaluate who I follow.
Yeah, huge. We've talked about this before, because on TikTok, you kind of are just scrolling and you can see everything. TikTok, we tell people to block because you don't want them to just pop up on your,
Smart.
what is it, For You page?
Yeah.
So you don't, you're just scrolling, they're not popping up in your For You page because they'll keep popping up, or there's the not interested button, but I don't even think that works that well. So just the
You have
block
to
button
press
is
not
great.
interested a lot of
Yeah.
times.
So I think that's really important, is the social media block, because that's the biggest factor with all
Also,
of this.
muting on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, if there's someone that you're like, oh, I can't unfollow them because they're my friend
Yeah,
or
mute,
family
for
member, that's gonna cause an issue. You can just mute.
Yeah.
Don't gotta see
Yep,
it.
absolutely.
Mute it.
I also think it's really important to reevaluate and rethink the relationships we have in real life too, with friends and family. Who you surround yourself with really can make a difference. Now, it's not always easy to remove people in your family,
Of course.
but in that case, it's really important to set certain boundaries.
Yeah.
Make sure that, hey, wait, I don't want to talk about it. This needs to be something. This is a hard no for me. We're not discussing this.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. Being very vocal on the things you can and can't talk about around, yourself, family-wise, I think is really important. I've had to do that in the past.
Yeah, and I had to do that with friends. Like I said before, in high school, girls talking about that, my friend would try to justify her eating habits to me, and I would try to, educate her on it, and it got to a point where I said, I cannot do these conversations anymore. You cannot talk to me about this. You can't, tell me what you're eating or not eating. I can't do it. I cannot. I'm I tried to help you. I tried to, acknowledge it, but right now, for me, can't hear it anymore.
Yeah.
And, we just gotta be, straight up honest about, it's just not something you can deal, especially when you're in a place where you're almost out of it, you're almost healed yourself. It's the one thing that someone keeps saying to you, gotta cut it.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah.
Well,
it's hard. It's hard to do.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adam, for coming on. I think we covered so much, and this is my favorite topic of all time. It honestly makes me want to get back into those TikToks, but not quite yet.
Do it.
But,
Bring the heat.
yeah. But everyone listening, you guys can go plug your Instagram one more time.
Adam Wright Fitness, WRIGHT.
Awesome. And are you taking clients at the moment?
I am, and I also, if I fill up, I have a team of 9 incredible women coaches who also speak the same language that I do.
Awesome.
Amazing.
We love that. All right, guys, check that out, and be sure to show his Instagram some love. We will be posting him on our podcast today when the episode goes live. You should see that, and he'll be tagged. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.